And I think we're live. So, hey guys, this is Rich. I want to thank you for joining the Kansas City's Networking Connection. I'm here with Luther Wilson III, and he has got a very interesting story. Him and his whole family are investors, property managers, realtors. I mean, they run the gambit, kind of like me, do a little bit of everything, do it really well, really well. So, let me before we get started, I'm going to go on here and give our standard, non-standard disclaimer. For the record, we are not, nor we will ever be giving legal, investment, or health advice on this channel. Our opinions are our own, and if you need those services, you should seek competent advisors in those fields. This information is presented for entertainment purposes only. You have been warned. And then finally, this group is built on the idea of Zig Ziglar's quote, you can get everything in life you want if you just help other people get what they want. That's kind of my role in this. I'm the kind of guy reaching out to everybody, kind of seeing what they need and what they need help with. And so today's Luther's opportunity. So Luther and I have known each other for a couple years now. We met at the Mary meeting, and Luther was like, I did a subject to, and I found out Luther was like this. He's a subject matter expert on subject to, and so I had to have lunch with him and make sure I did it the right way. It turns out I got lucky and did. So, but anyway, we've known each other for a couple years. And Luther, why don't you tell everybody about what you do?
Yeah. So first off, I want to thank you, Rich, for reaching out, inviting me on, and interviewing me here. You alluded to it earlier. I'm a real estate investor, property manager, also a real estate broker. I grew up in the real estate business. Both of my parents to this day are still somewhat active in real estate. My mom is a realtor for the last 29 years, and my father as an investor the last 31 years. And so growing up, it just was a regular conversation at the dinner table in the household. And so I think it was something that I always wanted to do in the back of my head as far as real estate goes. I just wasn't sure when, how, and to what degree. And so
Right.
I was an athlete growing up. And in college, went off and ran track. And when I first went to school, I plugged into the business classes and entrepreneurship classes and real estate classes and just stuck with that. And 5 years later, graduated with a Bachelor of Science degree in entrepreneurship with an emphasis in real estate. And so
Awesome.
that was 2008, and finished school and came back home and just looked for a job and started working. And it was definitely an interesting time, 08, 09.
Right. That's what I was thinking. That was a great time to get into real estate, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so I was pretty fortunate. I bought my first investment in 2008, like right before I graduated.
Okay.
And then bought my first house in 2009. Then I lived in it for a couple years and just kind of bounced around from there. So,
So you bought your investment first and then a house
mhm.
after. What a great idea. I mean, I've been telling my
Yeah.
daughter she needs to do that too.
Oh, get her in there as soon as you can.
I'm honestly jealous of
Yeah.
you because growing up having your mom and your dad just talking, we don't realize how much information kids will glean off whatever industry their parents are in, right? And
Yes.
my parents weren't entrepreneurial at all, so there wasn't really anything. I mean, I had to learn it all, and now it's nonstop, just talking about this stuff. And my kids are already like, "Hey, we're going to invest and do all this other stuff," which is great because
Hmm.
I never had that. And I mean, that's a huge advantage. And props to your parents for doing it because you learn more than you ever would have otherwise, and it prepped you for success to buy something right out of the gate before you even own a house.
Hmm.
You got a rental property. How awesome is that?
Actually, it was a note. So
Oh, you,
I don't know if you or anyone
we
listening is
we've
familiar
talked
with
about notes with a
notes.
couple of people, so that's
That
awesome.
was my first investment in 2008.
Awesome.
So yeah.
So, so anyway, and we kind of covered a little bit, but how did this start? I mean, you basically graduated and you decided you were going to just start, or was there other stuff in the middle and you finally said, "Dang, I'm going to just go do what I already know."
Yeah, so I there was a short period of time in my life where I pretty sure I didn't want to, or at least I thought I didn't want to do real estate.
Right.
And that was very short lived. Just to go back a little bit, in high school, I would cut grass at some of my dad's rental properties. My mom and I would.
Okay.
And we did that for a few summers and kind of learned some more stuff there. But it really wasn't until I graduated college, that was in '08, I had worked like 5 or 6 different jobs. And then it was in 2012, a buddy of mine who I've known since elementary school reached out and said, "Hey, I want to learn more about real estate investing. Can I sit down with you and perhaps your dad? I know your family's been in it for a long time." And I said, "Sure." So I met with my buddy Steve, and we sat down with my dad and him, and we talked for a couple hours. And afterwards, Steve was like, "Hey, do you want to partner up on some stuff?" And I was like, "Well, yes."
Right.
We were sitting in my buddy's car in front of my parents' house, and we had that conversation. And I remember saying yes, and I didn't exactly know how we were going to do it, but I figured, man, I have a buddy that trusts me enough to want to go after it, and I'm like, we're going to figure it out. So we
Right.
started off
Exactly, man.
we started
That's
off
huge,
wholesaling in 2012. Yeah.
That's huge, because that's half of it, right? I mean,
Mhm.
here's the thing, and this is, I find more often than not, most people have more faith in us than we have in ourselves to be successful,
Oh man. Yeah.
right?
It's so true,
Because
Rich.
people are like, "Oh, I know you're going to do this." I'm like, "What? Really? Oh, okay." Usually it's my wife's the one going, "No, there's no way. This is crazy. Is this even legal?" I mean, I get that a lot, right? Is this even legal?
Uh-huh.
So I just tell her we'll find out when they show up, right? So
Yeah, no kidding.
so you started in 2008, and then was your focus back then just when did you get your real estate license? Was that when you got it?
So I partnered with my buddy Steve in 2012, and we worked together. It took us 6 months to find our first deal. So
Okay.
we started off wholesaling. We did bandit signs. We did yellow
Oh,
letters.
yeah.
Yeah. We hand wrote yellow letters. Okay. And we
Oh, man.
physically put together the bandit signs ourselves. We bought the stakes. We got the 18 by 24 inch corrugated signs with some Sharpies. We literally put them together ourselves, and we would go out Friday evenings and we would place signs around the city on corners where we thought there would be good real estate investor activity, right? And we would pick them up on Sunday evenings sometimes. And so we did a few rounds of that. And we didn't find our first deal that way. We actually found our first deal through Craigslist. And it was a subject to deal, ironically. Yeah.
Of course, it was a subject to a deal with you, man. I mean, that's what you do. That's your thing. I mean, that's why I have you saved in my phone as Luther subject to.
I need to start using that in a tagline or on social media.
No kidding, man. I mean, it's so funny.
So that was
of course it would be a
2012.
subject to deal.
Right. So we ended up doing a subject to deal. We did about 2 or 3 wholesale deals. We did an owner finance deal. And then that was like a year to 2 years in the making, all of that action.
Okay.
And we were both kind of frustrated. I know my buddy Steve, he was, preparing to get married and wanted to start a family. And me, I was cool living a single life and still am actually. But we kind of split. It was a friendly split. He got into selling insurance, has still been doing that to this day, has a great career. And that's when I decided, hey, I'm going to go ahead and get my real estate license.
Okay.
And I got licensed in 2014 and
awesome.
Plugged in with a property management group here in town as a leasing agent. And so that was my first year as a realtor, was doing leasing for a residential property management company that at the time was managing around 300 doors.
Okay. Well, that's a good start, because you kind of get the background of what you want to do and be, really focusing on, this is the way to, you can take what you learn there and apply it to your own properties, right?
Absolutely.
So I just read a lot of books to learn it, and my wife's been a property manager for 30 years. So I kind of like you, I learned a lot by default by listening to her come home and tell me about all the stuff going on. So I'm still no expert, but I got her, so I don't need to be an expert.
Exactly.
So, what were the biggest issues getting started?
Well, I think really we didn't have much money at all.
Yeah.
Um, and that was a challenge. So if you're wanting to get into real estate and you don't have any money or maybe just a little bit of money, you're limited on what you can do. And I think you either, at least in my mind, you could either work for somebody or you could market yourself and try to find deals, market for distressed properties. And so if you can find a product and it makes sense, the numbers are good, it's off market, property needs some love, and you can get it at a good amount, then there's a chance that you can move that product. And so I guess that's on the wholesaling side, which may not be a route that a lot of people want to take, but you're going to learn the ropes that way. If
I
you know,
go, yeah, I still think wholesaling is a thing that most people don't even realize is a thing. I
oh
mean, there's so
man,
many people that don't even realize you can go do it. I mean, and it's a whole lot
yeah,
easier without a real estate license.
oh for sure, for
Yeah, I
sure.
mean that's what keeps me from
So,
doing too much of it because I'm like, I gotta be, somebody's watching.
oh yeah, I'm a realtor broker in Kansas City, Missouri, so I'm very
Right.
mindful of how we put them together. I haven't done very many of them. We prefer to just buy it outright if we can,
Yep.
um, and just
Or take a subject
disclose,
too.
or
You can
take
do
a
whatever you
subject
want.
too.
Right.
Exactly.
So, um,
Yeah.
did anybody tell you it wouldn't work when you got into this?
Oh man. Oh gosh. Well, not really.
I was
I
going to say,
think,
with your parents been doing it for a long time, it's going to be hard to say that'll never work because they're going to be like,
yeah,
right there,
yeah, exactly. Most people that I talked to about it, um, it made sense to them because of what my parents do, what they've been
right.
doing. And I've been pretty fortunate in that regard. Um, Getting into real estate, learning the ropes. I've worked for three different property management companies, man. And so that I think is probably the number one thing that I tell people that want to get into real estate investing. If they want to get into real estate investing, one of the number one things I tell them is to go work for somebody that's already doing what you want to do in
Right.
that field. And I think that could apply to, everything really outside of real estate, any venture you want to get into.
Yeah, I
If,
agree.
if, if you don't have the money and you don't have the experience, figure out what it is you want to do, find somebody that is doing it currently, or maybe if you can't find anyone in your market who's currently doing it, find somebody who has done it and seek them out.
And,
Figure
and
out how
doing it
you can,
well.
and doing it well. Yes, yes.
Right. So
So,
before I
yeah,
forget,
man.
Luther's contact information is in the description along with his bio and everything. So whatever platform you're watching this on, be sure to reach out to him. Let him know where you found it. Obviously, you should share this with your friends. Somebody's interested in subject to or whatever. He has a vast knowledge on many different real estate products and how they work. And I mean, it's even hard for me to, you can specialize in so many things in real estate. It's hard to even believe, you can just
Right.
like, you don't even have to. Residential home sales is just like one thing that most people know about, but there's so many different little niches
Hmm.
out there that you can make it work. But anyway, be sure to like and share this with everybody out there, and then reach out to Luther if you have questions. So, um, do you love what you do now?
Yes, I do. I'm a property manager now. Me and two other guys, we just launched that company earlier this year. So
Okay,
I'm excited to grow that. Um, that as well as my own investments because we are still buying, selling, refinancing, rehabbing right now, and so I do enjoy it a lot. So
you do the
it's to
burr
me,
strategy.
yes, I do the
All
bird
right.
strategy with a little bit of a twist. So I
Oh,
try to,
do tell.
um, yeah. So a lot of times when people do the bird on the back end, once they're done with the renovation and the refinance, they rent it out, right? So we do a little different. The little twist there is just owner financing it on the back end. So instead of us
Awesome.
renovating, refinancing, and then renting it, we choose to do an owner finance deal on the back end. it could be a true owner finance deal, or it could be maybe a land contract. And then we go from there. We just do that
I
again over and
That's
over
awesome
again.
because you're offering an opportunity that otherwise people probably would not have for home ownership. A lot of those
Absolutely.
folks, there's a lot of people that, on paper, and I've been that guy before. On paper, I mean, it didn't look like I made a lot of money, but money going through my accounts was a whole nother thing, right? And I
Hmm.
do that. I structure things like that on purpose because the IRS allows me to do that. But
Yes.
then you get penalized if you go to try to get a traditional mortgage. So, so if you can
Uh-huh.
have that and be a owner finance it, and you can hold on to it for 2 years, and then turn around and go to the bank and go, hey, look, I've already been owning this. It's always easier, and people don't understand this. It's always easier to refinance a house than buy a house.
Mm.
Already own that asset. So the banks look at it totally differently. So I
Hmm.
commend you for doing that because you are helping a lot of people out there who otherwise probably would not be able to enjoy home ownership. So,
Yes. Thank you. It's,
so and my next question, we kind of covered it, but how did you find that job? I mean, I think we kind of covered that with how you
oh
got into
yeah.
this.
I've
So,
been all about creating my own job the last few
right,
years.
that's the
So
best job. So,
absolutely.
if someone wanted to follow the same career path as you, would you recommend doing it the same way, or is there a better way to get to where you're at?
I think there's a better way.
Oh, good.
Um,
Tell.
I think we kind of alluded to it earlier, and working for someone who is doing what you want to do. I think that is a better way. And then let's face it, man, if you want to buy real estate, you got to have money.
Yeah.
It may not be your money, you know what I'm saying? But you got
Yeah.
to have access to someone's money if you want to be a true real estate investor.
That's right.
And
And
so for
building that
somebody
confidence is huge, right?
for somebody newer wanting to get into game and wanting to invest in real estate, find a company that's got a boatload of money and who's buying real estate every single month or every quarter, and get involved with them however you can,
Right.
right? That I think would be a better way. And then once you're in that company working for those individuals or that group or whatever it is,
Right.
negotiate, say, hey, I'm producing here.
Right.
How about I get an ownership share of this next two investments that you buy or whatever. However you want to negotiate it. See if you can get ownership
Well,
in
and
some of those
I'm gonna throw out a
properties.
crazy idea there that people probably haven't thought of, but I
Hmm.
would call up and go, "Hey, look, I'd like to intern with your office, right? You're not going to pay me." And people are going, "Oh my God, not get paid." But I know a lot of people out there who pay mentors and other people to teach them how to do this stuff.
Hmm.
So would you rather pay somebody else or learn it for free? And then that's going to be a short term gig because if you perform, they're going to want you to stay there. They're going to want to pay you.
Yes,
You don't have to do it forever. You
exactly.
go in there and show them, hey, look, I'm working part time and I'm cranking deals out for you guys. It's time for me to make money, or I'll go somewhere else. They go, wait, hold on,
Uh-huh.
let's think about this. But I don't see anything wrong with interning if you have a potential to make millions of dollars and change your family's, direction.
Do it. Get
I
in
mean,
there.
if you got to go
Yeah.
work at Pizza Hut at night while you work for them during the day for free for 4 months, 5 months, whatever,
Uh-huh.
do it. Do it while you're young too.
Yes.
So,
That's huge,
um,
man.
but so all the people out there watching right now, what do you need help with right now? What's the number one thing or two things that you think, hey, I'm going to tell it, I'm going to tell the world, and it's going to come back to me. What is it you need help with?
Well, we're looking to grow our property management company. So,
Okay.
along with property management, we do project management as well. And
Okay.
so, just something I've noticed over the years, I'm pretty active in the real estate investment groups here in town, the networking groups, as well as on Facebook and as well as Bigger Pockets. And it seems the two biggest things that investors ask for is property management and good contractors. And so, anybody who needs those services, we will plug you in with our own contractors and vendors who we use on a regular basis. And
That,
so that's it. Like I've to this day, I think I've been a part of close to 60 to 70 renovation projects and about 200 transactions. That's including
Wow.
leasing and sales. And
Awesome.
so any investor that's needing help on the residential side with their home, getting it fixed up, getting it rented, getting it sold, that's where I can jump in and assist.
Awesome. So,
Yeah.
and then I probably know the answer to this, whether you want to admit it or not. Do you have a mentor?
Yes, I have multiple mentors.
I'm sure. I know I know two of them. I'm pretty sure, but
Yeah.
I'm sure they keep
Right.
you on the straight and narrow, don't they? Uh,
They try.
so, how did you find the other ones, not the two that we know real well?
Um, well, I met my mentors, some of them just through networking.
Okay.
Um, there's a couple of them that I met through Mari as well.
Okay.
And I don't even know like if they would consider themselves my mentor, but I consider them a mentor for me because I can reach
Hey,
out to them and they'll
there
put me
you
on
go.
game, whatever
That's
I'm
that.
going
There you
through.
go. That's it, man. They answer the phone or call you back.
Yeah,
That
I
qualifies,
can
right?
I can ask them anything real estate related or even life related, and they'll give me advice and tidbits on how I can push through that obstacle. So
Awesome. Um,
yeah, man.
Now, how can people get a hold of you? I already mentioned that everything's in the description, but why don't you tell everybody how you'd prefer to have them get a hold of you?
Look, I'm pretty active on Facebook. Facebook Messenger is a great way to reach me. Um, I don't know if I should give out my cell phone number on here, but I'll just say Facebook
It's in
is
the
a
description, so it's
text me. If you look in the description and you see my cell
right.
number, the number one way to reach me besides Facebook Messenger is through text message.
What about TikTok? Are you TikToking yet? I mean, everybody else is
I'm
TikToking. I'm
I'm not
lost.
on
I'm too old.
TikTok. I hear you, man. I'm like
I,
an elder millennial. I'm
I feel
pushing
like an old
40.
man. All these people like, you doing TikTok? And I'm like, do I look like a TikToker? I'm not sure I
I
can get my fat body on the screen, let alone do
yo,
a video.
I was really active on Snapchat for a few years,
Uh-huh.
but now I just look at other people's stories when I get bored, waiting in line or in my car or something.
I
I
just
don't
use it for
post,
the face swap thing and change out
uh-huh.
every random pictures and post them places to freak people out. So that's all I use that for. So um
Yeah.
so do you have a final thought for everybody today before we let everybody go?
Um, no, just live your best life. I'd say, figure
I
out what
think
it
that's
is you really want to do and go after it.
I think that's
Um,
solid
just
advice.
just get clear on what it is you really want. I mean, we spend so much time planning our trips or planning our weekends or planning our Christmas holiday. You know what I'm saying? Planning what we're going to eat, what we're going to cook. Like, let's plan what we want to do with our lives, right? With our
Yeah.
futures. Sit down and get clear. It's like, all right, here are my skills. Here's my experience. Here's what I would like to do. There may not be as many opportunities quite yet, but hey, like, let's kind of map some things out and get clear on what it is we want to accomplish, and then I don't know, pray about it, meditate it,
Right. Now,
and
I know
and
extra
and
bonus
go.
question. Do you do
Sure.
do you do goals? You do goal setting and all that?
I am avid. I love goals. I have mixed feelings about them. I
Right.
think that a lot of people, and I kind of lean towards it too, goals don't necessarily work, some might say, and I might lean towards agreeing with that. But it gives you, I don't know, it does something to you mentally and physically, like having the goal, having a plan. Things are going to go haywire every now and then, but knowing at least what direction you want to go
Right.
and having some type of
I
map
think
or plan will help you.
I think it's the roadmap, right?
Hmm.
You're going to get there somehow, but you gotta lay out a little bit of route.
I think it'll help you
So
get there faster.
right.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, I set my goals as ridiculous. I mean, my first year in real estate, I was like, I'm going to sell $18 million in real estate this year. And everybody in my office is like, that's crazy. You know how many transactions it is? I go, I don't care, because if I only get to half, it'll be okay.
Go
Now, if
big.
I get to a
Yeah.
quarter, it'll be okay. But I had the goal of, I knew how many transactions I had to have to get to $18 million. And my goal was to, get as close to that as I could with phone calls and emails and all the other stuff, and I did $3 million in my first year. So I was like, that's pretty good.
That's really good.
I mean, it wasn't 18 million, but I was okay.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
But if without goals, who knows what would have happened? Because I'd have just been like, I'll get around to doing it eventually. Because my goals were based on daily, weekly, and then at the end goal, how much I needed to have by a certain. If I did all these things, I should, not, because like I used to do goals is like, well, at the end of the year, I want to do this by the end of the year. Well, I'd find out in the last 2 months, I'm like, oh, I didn't do any of that stuff. I got to hurry up and get some of that done. It doesn't work that way. You got to like, okay, I'm going to space this out over the whole year to make sure I get it accomplished. So
important, man.
Yep. So, well, anyway, thank you for your time today. I appreciate it. And then if you guys reach out to Luther, find him on all his social media, send him messages and stuff. And if you need something from me, don't hesitate to reach out to me. So thank you guys very much and have a great day.
All right. Thanks, Rich. Peace out.